This is my review of the Pink Floyd album, The Endless River. It was released in 2014. I'm not going to bother listening to the producers because there are a bunch of them, and I feel like if there's more than two, then why bother? And before I talk about the album, I'm going to say that I'm going to review Syd Barrett's albums next, so I got my Syd Barrett shirt on. He's got a pretty short discography, so that won't take long. But I'm not going to announce who I'm going to do after that yet. I've got somebody in mind that's going to kind of be completely different than all of that, but I haven't completely decided that yet, so I'm going to wait to announce that till later. But I have one more Pink Floyd album, I think a live album, and then the album ranking of Pink Floyd, and then I'm going to do the Syd Barrett album. When The Endless River came out, I was excited to get it because I never had the chance to buy a brand new Pink Floyd album before, but at the same time, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to like it that well because it's pretty much all instrumentals, except for the last song, which has vocals on it. And it was kind of like just reading the stuff about what the album was going to be even before it came out. I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. I think most of it was recorded during like the time they were recording Division Bell, and it does kind of sound like Division Bell, I feel like, and listening to them pretty close, the music sounds kind of similar. So Richard Wright had died by the time they did this, but it has recordings from him from around like that time, and then they went back in the studio, and there's like a bunch of other people who play stuff on this. Obviously it has different bass players because Roger's not here. This is an album that when I got it, I listened to it a lot, and then I kind of stopped listening to it, and I haven't really listened to it a lot recently at all until listening to it to review it. And I still like it. I can see why some people would think it was boring, and I mean, it's never going to be an album that I go to a lot just because I'm not really into the instrumental thing a whole lot. I think at this point in my life, I like instrumentals more than I ever really have before. So, but they're just still like not something I want to listen to a lot. I mean, there are some instrumentals that I really love, but overall, I like songs with vocals usually better than just like whole albums of instrumentals. So it's never going to be my favorite Pink Floyd album, but for what it is, it honestly doesn't really bore me that much. I could see it boring people because it is just kind of like slower and kind of, I don't know, more relaxed music for the most part. But yeah, I don't know, I think like Autumn 68 is probably my favorite of the instrumental tracks. I think the song with the Stephen Hawking voices works better than it does on, I can't even remember the name of it, but the one on Division Bell, which is like the worst song on there. A lot of this sounds like Division Bell, which I think I already said that, but the last song on it, Louder Than Words, the one that has vocals, I've always kind of hated like the opening lyrics of it, but other than that, I like the song. I always like, I've never liked the opening lyrics, but other than that, it's not a bad song, not a bad way to end the album. I kind of wish they had maybe like done more songs with vocals, but I get what they were doing with this, and I think that it's an album that if you're in the right like mood for it, it's a good thing, but it also could be like really boring if you're not in the mood for it. So not one that I'm going to listen to a lot, but I don't know, I think I like it better than Momentary Lapse, which I probably already said. But yeah, not a bad